thought that our world would come to a standstill because of a global pandemic. And this is something unprecedented, something that none of us had probably imagined would happen. But what it is now, and it's turned our life upside down, but also brought in a lot of opportunities with it. Probably it will change the way we look at things. So without further ado, I'd like to start the discussion with this panel that I have today. So I'd like to start with Mr. Chobe. There is this whole pandemic related changes that are happening, and there might be a shift in the consumer habits. So what can we start with your thoughts on what you think about this? I think, sir, you'll have to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done so. Thank you so much. And it was pleasure meeting everybody on the panel as well as the listeners, the viewers. As far as the consumer's behavior is concerned, yes, there is a lot of new things coming up, which shows from the study as well as some global research from also given a lot of data on that. As far as the AMC Global said, the AMC Global said the 45% of the consumer, they are currently eating less fast food than the normally they do. So the habits of eating is completely changed. Before we used to go outside at least 2 days in a week. We try to go outside, have good food in the restaurant and all these things, a social gathering and a lot of things. But because of the COVID-19, a lot of threats came, and people really concerned about their health, really concerned about the impact on the society because of the transmission of this disease. So this is something which is really going to be make a change, not only because of the COVID-19. It is going to be you can say it will be take it forward in future also. So people will try to maintain the same thing which they are doing at this stage. Also, they said that 33% of the consumer, they are getting more takeout than before the pandemic. And you see that, but just 30% consumer, they said, expect to be reliant on the off-premises dining after the threat passes. So the change of behavior of the consumer is quite interesting, and we have to think in that way, especially when people who belongs to a FMCG industry. We need to understand the consumer behavior. We have to analyze data, and we have to change our system to our consumers' requirement, because they are the one who maintain our business. So if we do not maintain the things according to their requirement, definitely we will be out of the race. Other thing is that 32% of those pulled plan to make more home cooked meal after the virus passes. Can you imagine? This was in the past, you can say after 20 years, before 20 years, people were like that. They prefer to have their home made food and all these things. But now, because of the change of lifestyle, people migrated from one place to another place. They're working there, they're studying there, and all these things. Because of that, they started believing on the fast food, like restaurants, placing order in the restaurant, going outside, having food and outside. But now things are changing. People are thinking back to those previous days when they were having a homemade food, and eating together with the family members, So these are the things. Another thing, the currently 33% consumers are baking more than their typically normal habits, and 40% of those surveys said that they plan to focus more on saving, budgeting their money after the COVID-19 threat passes. So these are the changes where we have to think about how their spending behavior is there, what they are going to do according to our requirement, whether they are fit into our requirement, how we analyze those data, how we understand consumer behavior. We have to have sort of technology system which we can get all the information from the market, how the consumer is reacting towards our product. According to that, we have to input our things so that we can get benefited out of their behavior also. At the same time, we also need to think about their lifestyle, their health concern, and all these things. So those things we have to maintain in our manufacturing site also. So these are the something which is I feel that the drastical change is going to be happen, and it's already started. And these are the recent survey which talks about that. Other thing, when we talk about the food type of food they are trying to have, it's I think the fast food which they were taking like pizza, burger, and many other things. Now it's very rare. We have seen. Even I have seen in the market, people mostly they are in the queue at the restaurant, and they are just willing to have takeaway things. They are not going to sit down and have food in the restaurant. So most of the restaurant which is open in my area, I have personally noticed that nobody is willing to sit down there and have food. Either they have takeaway order, or maybe the somebody who can deliver to their home will be preferable. So these are the things which is really interesting to understand.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chobe. Dr. Halde, can I bring you into this conversation? How do you relate with this to the beverage industry, and what are your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Smita. I think Dr. Chobe has said he has put the basis of the COVID-19. I have three things to say. If you see in last 40 days what has happened, the entire consumption today in India, take the case of India, our population is 130 crore. Out of 130 crore, 1.3 billion, closely 1 billion, 100 crore people are locked up at home. First time in the history of 1 century, might be, this is happening. 1 billion, 100 crore people are stationed at home. But when you are at home, what you will do? There is no any war kind of situation. You are watching TV, you are doing the work, you are joining the office through the home. So the eating has increased, and what he has given the percent, 33%, yes. We have seen in the oil industry, we have seen the consumption of the beverages has gone up by 33% to 40%, depending on the state of the society. But there are some trends which actually are seen. Immunity trends, and that is the whole herbal knowledge and the Ayurvedic knowledge has actually increased. And Ayush guideline, which has given that apply turmeric and then coconut oil and then do some kind of yoga and balanced diet. In the beverage industry, we will see that the consumption of the traditional beverages has increased. One of my friend is in the kokum industry, and they produce the kokum sharbat, and suddenly found that entire stock has been sold out. Same case with the juices. I would not say fast food or any other food. I think food is food, the way you eat. But the trend is going healthy because people know that we are not able to do the exercise properly, and immunity is the mantra today. I also would say, Smita, like World War I and World War II, 70 million people died. But the outcome of the World War, some finest innovation has happened, like Xerox machine, fountain pen, sanitary napkins, Coca-Cola, cafe, basically the whole culture of the cafe and in the instant coffee, soup, can bottle. COVID will also give so much of good innovations in the case of beverages. We will get a lot of packaging innovation because people don't want to touch. People want to have some kind of assurance that my product is safe. You will see a lot of innovations happening in the near future and in our beverage industry. In last 10 years, except Tetra Pak, I have not seen any real innovation has taken place. We will see very good innovation. Tradition will mix with the blend of the science, and some healthy drinks will come out without compromising the taste. And the first time, one thing which we have to observe, Smita, 3 generations are staying together at the home. It's like a big boss family. First time it has happened.
Yeah.
Either we will divorce or we will really get united. And knowing India, we don't have daring to divorce. We'll get united only. So
Yeah.
it will really exchange of the habits. Like I have learned how to prepare the pancake, but probably they have learned how to drink the haldi doodh. My daughter and kids, they are drinking haldi doodh, which Prachi has forced them to do. So there are exchange of the ideas from within the family which we never able to do because of the locked up condition. We adopted few, they adopted few, and this is the way in new India, COVID post India. I see consumption is going to increase, healthy habit will increase, and export potential also will increase. And we need to be very smart in fusion of those traditional and science. And I will bring other point in R&D part, which I will bring at the later part. Thank you, Smita.
Thank you so much. I guess very true. It's going to change our food habits, and a lot of traditional foods are going to get back into our lives. Coming from this changes in habits, also we've seen a huge change, like all of you said about e-commerce coming in. We have everything being home delivered now. You're ordering it in. So I'd like to bring Mr. Ramachandran in here, and sir, as some consumer-facing company as Cabin Care, how do you look at this and what are your thoughts on this?
Good morning to all and good morning to the viewers. Madam, I see this COVID-19 as a blessing in disguise. So this will bring in a lot of innovation and creativity like my earlier panel members have told. See, this is a very tough situation wherein every industry and also consumers are working towards. We as a customers are not used to sitting in home and seeing. We are all social animals. So now that is cut. Now what is happening is our intakes of outside food has come down. We have gone into healthy foods and healthy drinks and hygiene products which can take care of our lifestyle. Now, what is happening is this because of this COVID-19, a lot of business has gone to for a turmoil. Your businesses are not doing to the expected levels. That people are losing job. There are migrant workers. So disposable income is come down. So buying power has come down. Your all industries before the COVID itself, as business, many of the industries like automobile, real estates, none of the business did well, including FMCG were sliding down. So we had a challenge, and that challenge will always give a positivity in life. Now, what I would see this as a more of a positivity. In last 30 days, we as a company we launched a lot of hygiene related products, okay, sanitized products and all that. We had an opportunity. I thought in this time, even point not 1%, we get an opportunity to make what we want. There are people to help you out to get this done. Go to the market, and you have customers for everything. I feel that going forward, there will be health district wise, zone wise, whatever. For example, south based drinks are something different to north based. So this regionalized drinks will come out. Healthy drinks, immunity drinks, like somebody told. These are the things which is going to come, and we have to take care of the migrant workers. So many people. So our country economically will go down. But as such, as I don't expect that your economy will become overnight very good. But we all have to work towards that. Listen to the government, listen to the professionals what they are trying to tell, and go as per that, and maintain all this distancing, all that whatever is being told. Then we come out very well. The consumerism is going for a backseat because we want basic needs to be met to us. So that is how it is going to be.
So my question to you also was about e-commerce. How have you as a company looked at e-commerce, and how have you managed that?
Yeah, e-commerce is another challenge because we need to get to the consumers, and we as a company we got registered with various agencies and tied up. We are doing pretty well. Our e-commerce from year to year on year it is growing leaps and bounds because we are into different business lines. We are doing well in most of the business lines, including personal care. Beverage, our unfortunate thing is that during the COVID is the season. We had all the stocks, everything is there. My vendors were tuned to that. Unfortunately, it did not take well. Everybody is carrying the stocks. Everybody is carrying book losses. You have not seen such a huge, this crude oil going down in our lifetime, not less than $1. All the prices have come down. But the raw material prices come down, but unfortunately your running cost will not go down because the COVID restriction, you will have only 25%, 30% people to work. How will we mitigate all the variable cost? There is a challenge in front of us. We have to collectively, the industry, the industry makers, government agencies, everybody have to work closely to ensure that we all are afloat. The only mantra to be is that we have to be safe. We have to ensure that we will be alive as we go forward. Our businesses will do well. Definitely there will be a light in the end.
Mr. Jadli, can I bring you into this discussion now? Anything on the e-commerce side, on the challenges with transports and logistics that we are facing as an industry because of this COVID pandemic, and what are your thoughts on it? And where do you see solutions coming in?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It's a echo sound. Hello.
No, we can hear you.
Yeah. So good question, Smita. Okay, regarding COVID, my other panelists have said more on it. Now for this, okay, let me talk on the e-commerce, the possibility of the growth in the e-commerce. Now, since India has a very, I will say, unorganized setup of the distribution system as compared to other part of the world, like, mainly in the FMCG segment, where the general trade still have around 80% of the share market. And when we call 80% general trade, that means the Kirana or the Lala. Now to distribute your product to that level needs a big and wide change, like super stockist, then sub stockists, then distributors, and then the retailers. And which, I mean, generally, this cost itself comes to at around 25 to 30% minimum to minimum, including the margin to them. Now with this change of, where the reaching out and the people not moving out, so definitely the e-commerce chances are more bright. And whereas we will have the competition on this way, but then this, the expenses on your distribution cost will be saved in other way. And I feel that the company can give a good product direct to the consumer at a better price. On the export front, we don't have as such a big problem yet right now. Of course, the freight have been, ocean freight have been, just gone double because of the scarcity of the containers and all that. And the solutions, what is happening now these days, sending the original document from bank to bank or to the party. Most of the things are happening on the scan copy of the document. Even the business meeting, of course, the video conferences and all that, that's going quite fine. So yeah, so this is my thing for the export. Again, as soon as the traffic goes normal, and yeah, one thing is that the demand, I have noted the demand for the Indian food product, mainly for the intermediate product, there have been sudden increase in that. So really we have the good opportunities mainly in the export market. And for in the domestic segment, as Dr. Halde said, yes, there is a time now we have to do quite good R&D or innovative product. So the taste will shift from taste to the healthy product to increase the immunity.
Thank you, sir. And just for all the panelists, if you do want to come in, please just put up your hand or something so I can bring the question to you also. So, Mr. Trivedi, do you have anything to add on transport, logistics, and on the e-commerce front with respect to what's happening post-COVID or with COVID now? So you're on mute. You have to unmute yourself.
Not on the transportation and logistics, but definitely I would like to comment mainly on one very important area, that is the migration of laborers and their role. So what industry has to do, that's a very important thing. I would like to focus on that. Because of migration of laborers, more than 50%, especially skilled laborers also. So what industry has to do, I think there will be a need for skilling the new workforce. And for they have to start skilling programs also within their industry, and some other agencies can be involved, because now another area which may be required, that is more automation in the industry itself, where less labor is required. So there will be a lot of investment in that area. There will be opportunity also in that area, that so logistic and other things can be handled by especially the automation done in the industry. That's
I think Mr. Ramachandran, you want to add on to this. We've already gone into the topic of insufficient workforce and labor. So yes, Mr. Ramachandran.
I'll just tell you, yes, when you touch upon this logistics has become double the cost. You don't get proper transport, you don't get. So there are a lot of, on the checkposts, there are a lot of checkpoints and all this there, whether we are taking the materials correctly, all that. So they don't reach on time also. So it's always a nightmare to getting the raw materials to my vendor place or my factory facilities and going to my distributor network, going to the market. So all this having, a lot of turmoil in the logistics. How we have to do that? We've got a very good team of logistics. We are trying to do that, but still we have a lot of challenges in that area. The cost has gone up because drivers are not there to take the vehicle. So what I felt is that, but of all these challenges, we enjoyed the challenge because we are able to do something, which we never thought, maybe 1 month, 2 months back. All procurement will talk about lead times, getting to the market and all that, Now that those barriers are broken because we have to work together. My vendors, everybody are coming closer. Even drivers are coming. The lorry drivers are even taking the calls. They are speaking. So things are becoming, very close now. So I think we will evolve much better. And as slightly told by Rakesh on the technology front, definitely, since the workforce is not there. Earlier, why we had the workforce? The cost of production by having a workforce is not that much when compared to your technology. If I want to put any special purpose machine, there's a cost to it. So all the companies used to just push away that, okay, why should I invest on a technology? Instead, I can go on a brand or anything which will give more money to that. But giving this kind of scenario, yes, definitely we have to look for technology. And rightly he has put in, we have to think a law, something, has to put in for the migrant workers. So they are daily age workers. We should not, many companies are trying to help them out, but they don't have that safety. So that is why they want to run back to their hometowns. So if the companies will take care.
So just hold your thought on the migrant workers. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Chope had something to add on the logistics, sir. Do you have something to add on the logistics? You're on mute. You've muted yourself.
There are quite interesting inputs came from Mr. Ramchandran and Mr. Trivedi as well. But what I want to highlight here, that because of this COVID-19, lot of things was drastically changed. Whether you talk about the lockdown and roads and everything is like that. So things are getting difficult for the industry, especially for the e-commerce, And then the order is also reduced as per the previous status, So now if we talk about to cope up with this thing, we have to go for the new technology. The new technology which we talk about is like such as augmented reality, drones, advanced robotics, and smart glasses for the hand-free pick, pack, ship, and the key reducing cost and ensuring the competitiveness of the company, And because if we do not compete with the current situation, then most of the industry will have a negative impact on this because they will falling out of the favor with the consumers, The other thing is that if you want to stay in the competition, definitely your analysis should be very well with the consumer's behavior. Like the purchasing behavior of the consumer, you should have advanced software kind of system where you can maintain the inventory, and you should be sensitized with those inventory that when the input coming from the consumer, you should know their browsing behavior, what exactly they are looking for. According to that, you should have the stock availability. It's not just logistic transportation is the major concern. The other concern is the availability of the product at the go down at the same time, because that also cause a huge delay in the supplying, and this will affect the interest of the consumer. So we need to understand those kind of advanced technology, and the linkage of the edtech software companies to track browsing will be very valuable to predicting the purchasing trend of the consumer. So that's what I want to add. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting. Mr. Mehra, do you want to add something on this whole thing about logistics, what's happening? Since you're one of the milk, in fact, it's a big thing that requires cold chain and everything. And How does that work for you in terms of logistics and managing this entire situation?
Yes. Hi, friends. Welcome, everyone. Smita, I want to add here. I just want to brief you about what has happened in last 42 days in India. A lot of good thing happened. A lot of bad thing happened. This was not like Prabodh said. Whatever happened, we are all closed, locked up in the family. But certainly, it has given a different dimension to the people. It has given a different dimension to the industry also. Now the logistic, if you talk about the logistic, see, we are the company which is very, very essential logistic base. At 6 o'clock in the morning, everyone needs milk, everyone needs fruits and vegetables in the brand of Safal, and oil what we are selling. So when all people needs milk, fruits and vegetable and other commodities at 6 o'clock, so you can understand what is the role of logistic and what kind of logistic we have to work it on. So we have capacity. We are working in a different manner with challenges. There were a lot of challenges. There were a lot of government challenges also happened. But certainly we came out for everything. And it was our prime duty, responsibility to reach to the people with the essential thing. The milk is very, very essential for every family. The fruits and vegetables were very essential at this stage, where people were afraid of taking vegetable or fruits from other sources. So Mother Dairy and Safal, they assured all kind of safe logistic, timely logistic to the people, so that they should get. We even tried home delivery system also. That was only success. So it has given the whole kind of good experience to us. Thank God we were capable and competent enough to handle this kind of situation, because we have seen all this kind of demand fluctuation at the time of onion crisis and all together happened.
So you had some experience in managing situations where there are outages and stockouts already as Mother Dairy.
The stockout did not happen because we are directly connected to the farmers. We have a very strong farmer base, and our farmer knows, and we have a very good reputation with them. And certainly the logistic team, we could straight away connect to the farmers, got their produce. Even we saved a lot of produce to get wasted, got from their field, and reached the consumer at the time of this crisis in the need.
So just one question for everyone on the panel. What did you have to reinvent quickly in your business to make this happen and keep business flowing through these times? Would anybody like to share any ideas on what they did to reinvent their style of working, their business probably? Prabodh, yes.
Yeah, I think is not, because I'm not from the business per se from the team, but I'm from the R&D and regulatory, but I can tell about the experience with the other.
Please.
Chairperson of the, actually chairman of the All India Food Processing Association. There are two kind of companies. The company who could successfully, the way actually Mother Dairy, Safal example, and there are the companies who are not able to come out of these shocks. What they did differently, I think agility and connecting with the market with the strong supply chain. So we need to have a new normal like what we have not learned. We have to adopt those skills. We have to change our portfolio. And I think we need to focus on our strength rather than going into the many items. So you will see that normalization. Earlier in last 5 years, every company was launching many products because they understood that something will work. But now I think after COVID, I see that company will focus on the core. Marketing company will focus on marketing. Manufacturing will say, I will only do manufacturing, you do the marketing. So we will go back to our expertise zone, not the generic zone, which last 5 years we were trying, and we were seeing every company is launching product and making a competition. People will safeguard the money because liquidity will be the most important thing in next 2 years. This situation will not change in 3 months, 4 months. Liquidity will be a problem. So next 2 years will be the big issue. We need to maintain the resources, and manpower is one of the very important resource, because after this COVID, we understood that how important is the manpower if the skill manpower is available or not available. And because of this webinar and the e-structure, we had a mind block that everything you require a physical person, but now recruitment can happen all across the globe. you may get a designer sitting in the London and doing your designing for Mumbai. So it like the people will have a real competition in the job market. So people need to really have the good skills and sharpen your skills. So that is the thing which I see in the beverage industry also we need to. The point which Smita, I wanted to mention that India spends around 1.5% on R&D all across. If you compare with our other countries like Israel is the highest one, which spends around 9 to 11% on the R&D, research and development. But as a food and beverage and the food and beverage as an industry, our spends is in this range only 1.5 to, depending on the some companies spend on 2%. But if you see on the marketing spends goes to 8 to 12%. I think this will get balanced after COVID. You will get a lot of R&D happening and people will come out with genuine products rather than the copy product. And people want to make up genuine claims and a lot of study-based claims. When the Ayurveda will come to the modern products, but they want to get it tested with the scientifically rather than believing on the belief of the only the book knowledge. So I see a good thing for the R&D. And third party, second party operation also will flourish because people will not do capital investment. All unutilized resources in India will get utilized now. People will not invest money. People will find out which are the locations, which are the things. And a lot of amalgamation and balancing act will happen. And a lot of synergy will happen. Today, I want to launch everything. I want to produce. I want to make a plant. I want to invest. Tomorrow post-COVID, I want to play with everybody and it is like a football match. I will pass the ball, somebody will make the goal to the consumer. Finally, consumer winning is more important, but I will play my role. I am a supply agency. I will only supply to you. You put it to the market. So it will be a really great game. We need to see, but we need to have a sharper, smarter and confident skills to come on.
Manage this.
Thank you.
We've talked and touched a bit upon insufficient workforces. We've talked about skilling. As people in the industry that we have on the panel, is there anything that your companies are doing? How are you managing this entire new thing? If there is an example to share from anyone in the panelists, I think it would be a good thing for our participants to understand. Mr. Mehra, would you start?
Can I answer this?
Yes.
Yeah, because I would like to share an experience on this. Now regarding, okay, so the changes which are going to happen, definitely work from home is one of the changes which is already adopted by, even by our people, mainly, you know, who are into the export marketing and administration and this kind of things. One more thing that earlier I'm talking about the labors, and the labors, not the skilled or semi-skilled, but the labors. So what we noted that, you know, earlier, like the labor was always taken as a granted in India, and like ample of the labor, since the cost is also moderately very better than the other part of the world. So what we have seen, you know, we asked the same kind of the output. For example, if the 50 people were applied on that, we observe that over a period of time, since we are already into the production, implementing the social distance, we got the same output of the job with 25 people. So in fact, somewhere the labor was wasted also. I mean, it was not bothered. We were always keeping a ad hoc set of the labors. Mr. Ramachandran, my colleague from Kevin Care is there. I mean, I'm sure he will align a little bit with me on the same, but this is what we practically observe and, you know, gain this thing. So this is the one thing which the changes which are happening, as I said, is even in the production.
So you're using.
Even in the production side.
So you're using your labor more efficiently. Is that how it's working better now?
I think, yeah, I mean, probably, you know, because see, generally we are into the seasonal industry, like, you know, for the, we produce quite good size of the mango pulp tomato paste, and generally there is always a mindset of the factory people, you need labor honi chahiye yaar, koi baat nahi, you know, karna chahiye, you know, we always have this kind of things. And there are the people for that one. So nobody wanted to take a chance. Somewhere I will say, you know, the treatment, okay, I will not get into that one, but yeah, what we noted, wherever we find the bottleneck, bottleneck, we identified the bottleneck and did the planning in more better way. So the labors were more better way. One more thing, even for the operational part, now I tell you some of the things our operation heads did the production sitting in the home with a video conference, online production. Even in one of our case, one of the customer in Malaysia was having some, he wanted to have a problem solution kind of thing. In routine way, one of our technical person must have gone flight down there, have spoken to them, had a discuss. We had a video conference, online video conference, saw the things, discussed the matter, resolved the issue, and the things was over within 1 hour. And the party placed the another order. So it's going to be speedy with the technology. Now it's not that the technology was not there before earlier, but now somewhere we are adapting to it. Or rather, I will say in last 40 days,
and now we are forced
we are used to it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Ramachandran, you had something to add on this, please.
The panelist who told just now is what quite interesting. So what I would like to tell is that being in procurement, supply chain, all that in my organization.
Can you speak a little louder? I think you're not very clear.
Yeah, now you're able to hear. Yeah. See what interesting points you brought in. We were able to manage the factory, the vendors. Maybe I have some 300, 400 vendors. We could manage sitting in home. There is no any hierarchy now. It's flat based. I can call up to my CMD or anybody. We have got Teams meeting. We connect. We do it fast. What we used to do on a launch, maybe 6 months or something, a full complete range or something, could have been launched in just 10 to 15 days. Thanks to my R&D, thanks to my manufacturing. From formulation to anything, we could do some launches of sanitizers and all that, from packaging to everything, just flat 15 days go to market. Similar way, we are doing certain beverage, certain items and all is going on. And we hope to do very fast, because now somebody told that specialists will become very important. Yes, definitely skill set with specialist only can do things on critical situation like this. Every individual has to contribute. It is a relay race, and definitely it is going to be a tough. We had a very strong team from R&D to manufacturing, factory, logistics. Really, we did well. It's a very proud moment to tell here, and every company does it the same, and I hope it'll happen.
Okay, so in fact, we are going to really face shortages, but I can hear from all the panelists that reskilling, looking at people's specific skill sets, using technology, all this is what is going to help and make the cost. Sorry, Mr. Trivedi, you had to add some.
Hello.
You wanted to add something, so yeah. Mr. Trivedi, we can hear you. Please go on.
Okay. One very important thing, as Dr. Halde mentioned, that there will be a lot of opportunity for R&D and better opportunity for industry and academia interaction also, because the industry may not have facility for R&D, but definitely with the academic institution and other R&D labs, there is opportunity to innovate and expenditure can be incurred in that area. That's one I just wanted to say. And another important area that is cost will be also increased because of the lot of safety and issues related to within the industry when there will be production. So a lot of cost will be increased in the production because the healthcare of labor, and
right.
For consumers also we have to pass on the products which are more safe. So that aspect must be looked into by industry, and there will be a lot of opportunity for innovation. That's another thing I just wanted to.
Okay. I think Prabodh, you had something to say as well on this.
I will just add one point, Smita. One more important thing which is happening, empathy. Earlier, we have taken the things granted. What has happened in last 40 days? Now, suddenly, I realize what is the name of my guard, what is the name of my housekeeper, what is the name of my plant guard. Because suddenly the important of the people is that I am at home, but my plant, my depot, my operation is being guarded by the people. For them, I have just taken them granted. You have seen in your society, people are feeding to the security guards, morning tea, then lunch, and it never happened in India earlier.
Yeah.
So now people have realized the importance of the people. I think good thing, and it will continue. The valued people will get value, and the people do not have a value naturally will not get valued. So I think this is the big change which will happen. Second thing I want to add what Trivedi sir has said, academia and the industry, because industry will not do the capex. Academia has already some capex and they have a machineries and they have a systems, but because of the red tapeism, bureaucracy, industry don't want to go to the academia because they take 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. So they have to enhance, they have to make it fast. Industry also have to do something working with the academia, and we have to marry together.
Correct.
Second thing, on the loose juices, loose beverages, I think people will think 2 times before eating, drinking those things. So that will shift to the packaged juices. I will see that as a good trend. So for example, during the summer, you drink the Ganneka juice. You will see a lot of Ganneka juice and the Nariyal Pani is coming into the pack, which was not accepted, but now it will get accepted. And Amul has done for our Mattha. Now people have actually used to with the Tetra Pak Mattha, but same case will happen to juices. So these are the 2 points which I actually wanted to.
Perfect. So this becomes a segue into our next section. Coming to a little technical issues now as an industry, how do you see packaging playing out? You know, before the COVID, we were all about sustainability, getting rid of single-use plastics and stuff like that. And we've talked a bit about innovation. Now, how do you see all these things playing out with the safety concerns, health issues, and packaging? Where are we going with it? Maybe Mr. Ramachandran, you could start off talking about this, and then I'll come to you, Prabodh.
See, on this single-use plastics, it's a big subject. Okay, we started off how to reuse plastics, biodegradable. So many things is going on the backdrop. Now all this, is taken a step backward, because a lot of pouches are there. Many pouches are not recyclable because they've got a combination of different substrate like PET poly or something. So you cannot regrind it or reuse it for something. Now this recyclability and all that, definitely any PET containers, any single-use product is recyclable. So what is happening, it is anything related to biodegradable and all is taking a little bit of backseat. And we are taking, the consumer is taking, first step is just a health, hygiene related products, and those things are taken first thing. First, next is employment is the other one. So other things are gone slightly behind. So we are, every individual, a person like me also, concentrating more on hygiene related products. How do we do? How do we have a social distancing in the factory? How do I go to office? How do I get along with things? Is the life is going to be the same? No, definitely this COVID will not go just like that. It might be with us maybe until unless you have a vaccine or medicine to kill it, or you have immunity related products which companies, bigger companies has to come out. Companies like us, we have to come out to the market quite fast, which will be used by any startup people from the low strata to middle strata, because affordability is very important. So these things are playing in the minds of the businesses now currently.
Okay. Mr. Chobe, would you like to add something on packaging and how this whole thing with sustainability, packaging, all this is going to play out? You're on mute, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Ramchandran. And as far as my expertise is concerned, especially on packaging and having experience in packaging for food and dairy and other industries, I feel that there is a drastic change going to be happen, which will affect the recent government norms, which they were talking about to stop single-use plastic and all other things. Even in other countries like USA, recently the study says that in USA also they stop ban and they lift the ban on these particular things, because there were some shopkeepers, they were not allowing other people to come with their reusable bags. They don't want the reusable bag to be placed in the shops. where the contamination can come through that and transmit to their shops. So similarly, there is a threat that if they are providing the single-use plastic for the packing of those grocery stuffs, there is a possibility that some transmission can happen through that plastic bag also. But people think that if the shopkeeper take proper precautionary measures in terms of the hygienic practices, then there will not be any kind of loophole in this. So single-use plastic is going to be increased now. Why? Because people want to go for a take-home kind of food habits. When they want to take home the food, definitely there are a lot of packaging involved, which is just for single use only. They will just take the food at home, and then they need to remove those packaging things, and then they use the consume the food. So here you can see that the packaging same time is playing major role in terms of the health consciousness. The hygiene practice will help because of the single-use plastic, the one which you have to throw it. You don't need to use that one, and then your product will be safe inside the another secondary packaging. So you have to understand that if you are using a precise kind of packaging, then definitely you don't need to think in that way that okay, recycle, reuse, and this all this concept, which the 3R concept are there, is really important in this situation. People are just thinking that what is the best to keep themselves safe. Here the major concern is the health, and if their health is safe, everything is safe. So they don't concern on the long-term negative impact of the packaging which is happening, and because of the lack of collection and all this happen. So the waste management systems, those will be going parallelly, but not in this stage. Like the COVID may go for another 2, 3, 5 months. We never know till the vaccine is available. So we need to understand that our product, whatever we are handling, it should have a proper carrier which we can just throw it, and the inner product should be safe. And the packaging play a major role in terms of the branding and all other things. The aesthetic look of the product is depend on the packaging. So if we try to reduce those things, sometimes it will be very difficult for the industry to cope up with those requirements. And then we talk about the biodegradable plastic. How can we go with this kind of expensive product where the market is going down? The currency is going down, the currency falling down, dollar is falling, the other currency is falling. Here the currency was $1 is 14, now is $1 is 19. So you can see the difference, how it is going drastically down. So in this case, people will not think about the biodegradable solution and all these things. They think that's something which is readily available, easily available. They will go for it. And the packaging play definitely a major role in this. And people will rethink on that. Yeah, the user behavior may change. They will not just throw the things on the street, and they may take care of things in the proper way. But if you talk about the single-use plastic, I don't think it will be continuing in the same way like the past it was happening.
Okay.
Ms. Murthy, before we move forward, is it okay if we can just have a short poll? Since there are too many views, so let's hear from the participants also about what they think. So
Yeah,
Ria, can you quickly put up the poll question, Ria? So as you can see on your screens, which are the main challenges that your company is facing during COVID-19? And we have 4 options, which starts with customer support, supply chain, lack of raw materials, and manpower. Can we display the results? So I think 59% of people are facing the supply chain, which is the biggest issue currently, which is also addressed by our panelists. Can we have the next question quickly? So from the customer or the user side, how impacted will be your industry or business post COVID-19? Whether it will be not impacted at all, partially impacted, or highly impacted? Yes, we can have the results. So majority of the people says that it would be highly impacted. Yeah, can we have one more, please? So as per your assessment, by when do you see the situation will normalize for the current lockdown or the current COVID situation? I think the answer would determine most of our views or assumptions that we have for day-to-day working. Can we have the answers? Wow, so it's between tough tie between September and December. 39% says September and 31% says December.
So it's a long time to go still.
Yes. So I think, Ms. Murthy, you can continue, and then we have one more poll, so we can do it after a few questions. Yeah.
Yes. So we'll stay on the technical thing, and Mr. Chobe, very interesting insights on single-use plastics and what will happen to that. Let's move on a little bit further and staying with these technical issues as an industry. With all the lockdown, the bans, the travel freeze that's happening everywhere, the companies will be facing technical issues in terms of spares and maintenance. So how is the industry looking at these things, and how is all this managed? I mean, would like to maybe Mr. Jadli, would you like to take this question as well? Start off with you.
Regarding space and all that, I think the things are a little bit getting to normal, since we have seen some changes since last 10 days. So there have been a little bit movement, and as a matter of fact, one of my shipment was supposed to come from Italy, where this that COVID attack is too high. But it just came in time, and even from China also we received the packaging material in time. Yes, the shipment came to Chennai, but from Chennai to Chittoor still it is on the way. That's the thing, because of more of the barriers and all those things. But I think the things are getting normalized, and it will come into the line very soon. That's what I hope. It's not that big challenge anymore to our experience.
Okay, so talking about this, it takes us to the next question. A lot of companies are China dependent, they've been dependent on one country for a lot of their supply chain. So in this post-COVID world, or in this current state, how do you see this changing from an industry perspective?
Yeah, so in this way, the main thing is that from the food or from the drink segment, I will say, so the dependence on the China is mainly on the packaging material and on the machinery. And machinery is also, those machines which don't have a long durability. Some of the small machines, so which can be definitely avoided. But yes, in the packaging material, still there is a lot of dependency, which we have to do the R&D. There is a lot of opportunity for us, and India really have to come into that one, and India have to see the solution for them indigenously.
Right. Mr. Chobe, you wanted to add on to this as well.
Yeah, as per our own experience, we experienced that a lot of things was coming from China, especially the equipment, and because of the high demand of personal care product, because of this COVID-19, we had to bring a lot of machinery to add more productivity in terms of the sanitizers and other products. So we experienced that we were stuck up with a lot of demands which was coming, but we can't fulfill those demands because of the unavailability of machine, and there was no supply chain from the China. The shipment was not there, or airlifting was not done, and all these things. So we experienced that when we are in such situation, we should find a way. What the best thing we can do? We find some local sources. We tried to find some surroundings area like the South African market. We tried to approach Indian market where the complete lockdown was there. So those were the struggling time, and this is something where we can think in a different way. And definitely we should not be dependent on the particular country or particular source. We should have 2-3 multiple source where we can have our thought process and we can change according to our requirement. That's how we made those requirements. We sourced something from South Africa, even something from locally. Like other companies, they are not using those machinery. We said, okay, let's flip those machinery. Similarly, when we were looking for isopropyl alcohol for a sanitizer, it was coming from China, it was coming from India and other country. But now we are sourcing this from local market also. So it is all depend on the requirement, how you cope up with such situation. And that's very important, and people are not dependent on a single country like China.
Right. Mr. Ramchandran, you want to add something?
Yeah, just go with Chobe. So our dependency on China is yes, definitely was there. Like you said, for sanitizers and all that, it was like going like a gold rate for all the pumps and all that. You try to manage and try to lock up with somebody. But definitely with respect to the transportation from there, if you go by air, it was quite exorbitant. It is 10 times or 6 times the cost of the component. So you could go by sea. Sea is a lot of congestion is there. And again, all this COVID restriction and all that is definitely is going to take a killing of time. So definitely getting from outside India at this point of time is really difficult. But if you go for any of the drink products and all that, my dependency on the packing materials or something, you got Tetra Pak, you got Manjushris are there, you got so many companies who can give the caps, containers, everything is available. You got Hindustan Tins who is sitting in Delhi, and you got Midcans who is in Mysuru who can give cans and all that. So we have got, the vendor base who has got anticipated for the season, they bought all the materials. As such, I'm not finding any that much of a difficulty, but inland transportation is definitely a trouble, which I already addressed in my previous listing.
Yeah.
Definitely import substitution is a need of the hour. We should be able to do. A lot of industry experts has to come in. R&D has to work in. Without R&D, nothing can happen. They have got to help us. If R&D is there, R&D is the strength of any organization, and the marketing who are close to the market. If these two people can sit together, can give very good solutions, definitely, we can come out and we can emerge as one of the leading manufacturing hub in the world, is what my subject.
Okay. So moving on into other issues that production facilities and manufacturing centers will face, how are you going to ensure your worker safety, and how with reduced workforce, what are the things that you are putting into place? Any things to share on this? Yes, Prabodh.
Smita, thank you. I think FSSI and BIS has brought the guideline of COVID safe units and the COVID safe manufacturing depot, distributor, and the retailer. The guidelines are updated on the website. I appeal to all the participants, please download those guidelines. FOSTAC, a part of FSSI, has actually prepared the program, and it is a free. It has been told to all the TPs to conduct the free webinar, and you will get a certificate about understanding. Today, I see that so much of lacking of the knowledge, like people don't understand what is the difference between disinfectant and sterilizers, and what is the difference between alcohol base and water base. What is the time required to wash your hands? So much of actually illiteracy, and also overuses of the product. Both are bad. Underuses, overuses, both are bad. And which kind of chemicals can be used, because most of the chemicals are supplied by the agents, and they don't, it's like a farmers. They don't understand how much to add for the pesticides, and they just put more pesticide to get more concentration, and so more the production. So same mentality goes, and people increase the concentration while using it. So what will happen to those? I think these are the things the literate people, they should understand, and it should not be left to the user who is the housekeeper. The doses, the cleaning, the housekeeping staff needs to be properly trained. And it is not going to stop now. It is the normal life. It is a new normal. Maybe 2 years, 3 years, that is the way which we will keep doing now, which was our ancient Indian way. You remember when we used to go home earlier, when our Dadi and Nani used it, never allowed your sleep chappals inside. washing the hand, cleaning the legs, and then coming to home. So I think this is a new normal. We need to adopt that. The point which I was discussing on the packaging, that sustainability will have a true meaning, not only the environment sustainability, the people sustainability. So packaging will come in, because saving environment for whom? For you. So first person has to be saved. So you will see the lot of plastics are being coming, but utilization of that plastic and reuse and recycling will happen in big way rather than stopping. And this government is doing so good job, and the public government partnership now will take a new change, where the faith and the trust has built up, and that will get all the people working for a cause rather than working for their own agendas. So I will see the new India will have more united, hope so, and will come out as a emerge as a power, because lack of China exports something around 90,000 crore in food beverages. Some part, maybe 20-25% will shift to India, subject to we maintain our quality and hygiene. Because still India, we believe that कुछ भी भेज दो देखा जाएगा. I think that चलता है attitude will not चलता है now. We need to really work hard, discipline ourselves the way we have actually disciplined and stayed inside for 40 days. Whole 2 years we need to discipline and do this work which has been allotted to us. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mehra, you have a huge workforce, perhaps considering its mother dairy. How are you addressing concerns of the worker safety and things within your space? You're on mute, sir. You have to unmute.
Okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Smita, first of all, I'm taking this COVID crisis as a very, very positive scenario. What I felt, a lot of limiting belief has been converted into the enabling belief now. In industry, food industry, there were a lot of limiting belief we had. Safety is a FSSAI protocol. It has to be documented and not really adhered, except the big company, the small people, the small factories, they were not really doing, but now they have started doing because of fear or whatever. It has come into the practice. So at Mother Dairy, we were well prepared for this crisis, and actually in practice, we have all those things we take in practice. So we did not came across to the much problem to train the worker, and we followed the social distancing also. We changed them, the uniform changing, the sterilization, the disinfectation at the gate and screening. Very first day we were equipped to do so, and all plants did set it. Even then we have lots of logistic vehicles. So we are disinfecting all vehicles coming and going from the premises. So that's the way we have started working. Another limiting belief was we cannot work with small workforce. This limiting belief has been really converted into enabling belief now. People knows we can work with limiting manpower. Their productivity can be increased. The cost optimization can be taken out. So all these things, all this learning is going to take us in a different place. I once again want to say that this is a golden opportunity for India. I'm able to see, I'm able to visualize that kind of opportunity which is coming at global level. People are looking to India. They have seen what has happened with China, the Japanese guys, the US guys, all other countries. Now they have big eyes on India. This is our responsibility, our moral responsibility, our technical responsibility. We have people, we have capabilities, we have everything here. We have to manage, we have to redefine our process, like Mr. Halde said. We have to redefine our norms, and we have to prepare for the global challenge. And certainly India will become as a #1 power and will come with the global products once again.
Right. So staying in this theme, Prabodh touched upon the FSSAI and the regulatory norms. Do you as panelists see regulations changing now post-COVID with respect to food safety, with food labeling? Is there any thoughts on what new regulatory environment that will be around here? Prabodh, maybe I can start with you.
Start. I'm telling you, Smita, in last 1.5 months, all the issues pertaining to the regulations. The next day of the lockdown, the first lockdown, 23rd of March, FSSI, Dr. Shombik Jain was working. He was sitting in his office. We may not be knowing, but let me tell you, all our imports are normalized. All our licenses work is happening. They are given the extension of the renewal, so you can go up to 30th of June if you are not renewed your license. So much of waivers has been given by all the regulators, including EGMARC, including FSSA, including legal metrology. This kind of trust building, because they know that in this situation, even if some people have approached that we do not have a ink, can you excuse us not writing on the outer carton? I think regulators are taking this kind of actually actions which are not related to the core safety of the product. Outside carton is okay. I think this will continue, but now the consumer is the final god. Consumer safety is the most important. You need not to prove to the regulator. I think that is also we have seen.
Yeah.
Consumer is going to be the god. It is not about regulator to showcase that I am doing good. I think it's a consumer who will perceive that you are doing good, and you have to genuinely do the good. And one more important point, customer and consumer complaints number. In COVID, post-COVID, people will start asking you, they will deep dive how you are processed, where you are sourcing, are you sourcing from China? These are the questions they will keep asking. You may have to declare your values of the product, the pesticide, insecticide, knots, all those on your website, because now people are finding it interesting and their rights to get those values which otherwise not available for the common man. So the transparency, openness and clean label will consider. And regulator, anyway, post-COVID, they will become a normal regulator. So we need to be prepared that during COVID, we got so much of support, but naturally, we cannot take the granted. We have to do homework and do the sustainable rather than taking the advantage of any situation. Thank you.
Mr. Trivedi, would you like to add something onto this? You're on mute, sir. You have to unmute.
As Dr. Halder said, very true that keeping the quality importance. All the regulators norms should be followed. Definitely during COVID, there is a relaxation, and industry should be ready that they have to follow the whatever norms and regulators have, whether it is FSSI or even BIS. In BIS also we considered and we have discussed several things, and when we are preparing for the export, definitely quality cannot be just ignored. And another very important thing, just said, some people said about packaging. Definitely packaging may be, the single use is, but I don't think that will happen, because environment sustainability is very important. India is committed also to global protocols. So we don't see that there will be relaxation, at least on the environmental laws. And we have to be ready. We have to innovate new things, maybe concentrate another thing. Less packaging may be one idea, that whatever packaging cost is there, we can reduce the damage to environment. But definitely relaxation on the packaging laws and will not be feasible. I don't think that should be encouraged even by industry.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Ramachandran, would you want to come in?
Yeah, like all these panelists have told, all these FSSI, all these regulatory norms, as a company where I work, we strictly follow them. There is no any deviation about that. And all these customer service complaints is what we told. Definitely it percolates to down the line to supply chain to the vendor it goes to. And in our organization, the topmost CMD of the organization, he gets into month on month, week on week on the activities. My CEO gets into that, and we ensure that we reach the customer, understand more. If they are not able to clearly spell out in their mail or anything, we go into that. And of course, after this COVID, what everybody has told, each of my factories are following all the safety norms, distancing, disinfecting, everything, worker safety, mask, everything has been followed in my in the factories wherever my companies are operating now. There is no any inspection by the government authorities are happening. So there is no way. And like somebody has told, it will, as we go, as days goes on, it will become part of our system. Right. Already we are following certain thing, certain distancing and all that, was not happening earlier. With somebody has told, with less number of workforce, we are able to give productivity. Yes, that is happening. We are seeing the light on that. So going forward, everything will become in a positive note. Yes, definitely there will be a lot of stress in the system. Burning of pockets will happen because we have to spend a little bit on that. If you don't spend that, your business is not afloat. That's what I could say.
Okay, Avisha, at this point, would you, Mr. Jadli, would you like to add one, and then maybe Avisha, you can take a poll?
Yes, sure.
Yes, Mr. Jadli.
Yeah, Smita, now on the regulatory part, actually the regulation, I mean, I don't think so there is going to be too much changes in the regulation or regulatory part, as well, enforcing the regulation as such, since we already have it a lot. As a matter of fact, we already have a lot of regulatory procedure from the regulatory bodies. Now the thing is that the implementation will become more important. That is what I see it. And implementation is, as Mr. Mehra was saying, is not for the sake of the implementing, it is basically for the safeguarding yourself. Now, since you are also into the FSSC 22000, so apart from the regulatory body, I mean, most of the companies today, I mean, I will not say about our company, but most of the companies, including us, or following FSSC 22000, kosher, halal, SGF, and all these measures. And therein also, as a matter of fact, 80 to 90% of the COVID-19 precautions, we are already implementing it. Only a little bit needs to be done. And now it will be more on the implementation matter. So I feel there will be more, and again, it is not from the purpose of to meet all the regulatory requirement, but taking it, adapting it, and doing with that one, living with that one.
Correct. Mr. Chobe, do you like to come in? You're on mute, sir.
Yeah. As I heard from Mr. Trivedi about the future of this Indian market, similarly what I wanted to add here, because definitely there's a huge scope for the Indian market now. All the world is looking towards India, and they have trust on Indian economy, and they have trust on Indian government as well. So here regulatory play a major role in this situation, because our country having lot of flexibility in terms of regulatory. There are a lot of loopholes happening in that. But now when we talk about the future requirement, when we talk about 2021, definitely a lot of companies coming in. So we need to meet those basic requirements so that those companies can withstand with their product quality and all these things. So regulatory will play some major role in that to achieve those basic needs for the industry, because we can manage things with those small loopholes, but the company which is coming from Japan, coming from USA, they will not, because they are exporting things to the international market, and they should have those standard practices, and we have to follow those things. So like we had experience when we had US FDA audit during my Patanjali work, we have experience. They have some critical requirement, and we have to meet those requirement, and we cannot just hide things and okay, we will manage the document on the later stage and this, that. No, whatever practices there, we have to be fixed on that. Similarly, like the hygiene requirement, the health issue is a major concern in the COVID-19. So this is not just because of the COVID-19. Now this is going to be a human practices. People are more aware about the things about their lifestyle, and now people are more concerned about their health, their lifestyle, their food behavior. So maybe people can change their eating behavior from non-veg to vegetarian. They become vegetarian. I'm a mentor for PETA, vegan mentor. So I experienced a lot of things from the PETA, that people are changing their eating behavior as well, because they can understand the immunity system of Indian people is better than other country. So that is how the people are getting cured, and the percentage of curing is 27.5, I think, today. So this is all happen. Yeah.
So I think we are already at the, I mean, we are running out of time. But to summarize, the regulations are one big thing, but hygiene and following best practices is going to be a way of life for us going forward. And following
True.
things that are properly listed, I guess, in systems and standards that we've had. That's what will happen now, not on paper, but you'll really actually have to follow it. So I guess we are almost
yeah, so I think
Ms.
Ms. Murthy, we'll just take a small poll and then we have some interesting questions from the panelists. So we can take few of them. So Ria, quickly, can we do the remaining poll? So how is the beverage industry dealing with the current challenges due to the lockdown? So are we innovating, collaborating with partners or company, cost cutting in terms of reduction in budget, layoff, or working in a similar manner? Yeah, we can see the results. Wow, so 48% of the beverage industry is currently innovating with new technologies and automation.
Okay.
So that's a positive side, yeah. So we can have the next question. So is there any change in decision making pertaining to purchase of new machinery or equipment? This is mainly from the people who are into the production. So have your purchasing budgets increased to production demand or decreased, or it is the same as before? Yeah, we can see the results now. So 58%, which is a huge percentage, says that the budgets have decreased. We can move to the next question now. So knowing that exhibitions have always been a platform to network, so what kind of exhibitions would you prefer to attend this year, assuming that the situation normalizes? Would it be physical exhibitions, virtual, or a combination of both? I think this is more critical for organizers like us to plan what we can offer to the industry ahead. Can we have the results? Wow, so 59% would like to move to the new way of virtual exhibitions.
That gives you a lot to work on, Avisha.
Yes, absolutely. So it's time for us to innovate as well. And yeah, we can take few questions, Ms. Murthy, because there are a lot of questions, maybe not all, but some of them, yes, we can take on.
Yeah. So actually just very interesting discussions. Thank you everyone. And just to summarize, well, COVID-19 doesn't seem to be the end of the road. There is a bright spot, a silver lining to all of this, and innovations, the way we work, looking at the human factor, looking at changes in supply chain, all this is already happening to some extent and will be what we are going to do in the future as well. So as an industry, I guess there are silver linings to even this dark cloud, and things are, I mean, everybody seems to have that hope that things will change, but they will also grow in a different way, and it will still be something positive to take out of this. So on that note, I have a couple of questions, very interesting ones, which I would like to ask the panelists. And then after the questions, I'll probably come to you for some last words. So sir, Mr. Mehra, there is a question that for you to answer. Will there be any increase in cold chain supply lines in food and beverages, especially for milk and milk related products? Do you see anything like increasing the cold supply chain?
This is certainly going to happen as the demand and quality parameters are going to going to have in a different manner and level. So cold chain solution has to be increased. The investment in cold chain has to be made, and the small farmers, it has to reach to the smallest of the farmer who is producing milk or who is producing fruits and vegetable. So this whole supply line cold chain solution is certainly going to increase in future.
Okay, thank you, sir. Prabodh, I have a question maybe that you can answer. Do you see anything, how are flavored water category regulations? Are they going to be regulated, and how is it?
I think already we have a regulation for that, and FSSAI, there were the queries on the flavored water. But yes, if you add the tulsi and the herbs in that flavor rather than the artificial flavor, I think that category will grow. As I said, we need to really do the real innovation, not only the feel good factor. It will be a feel body factor, and people should get that advantages in the actual belief level rather than only on the advertisement. So you will see a lot of innovation. Like I was told in Japan, every 13th day the new beverage comes in the Japan market, vis-a-vis in India. Average, actually the new product which comes in the market is 200 days. So we will also see new products are coming which are in the health category.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. There is another question. Will the demand for dairy-based drinks grow in the future? Mr. Ramachandran, would you like to answer that question? Dairy-based beverages.
Yes. See, dairy and dairy products, if you take North India, it is hugely taken because of the climatic conditions. So dairy-based products, we connect it to health. White is purity, color. So definitely, the dairy-based products, as our company, we are having a lot of milkshakes, all fruit shakes has been launched. They're all hit in the market. We are the first to go into the market. So what I feel is that we already have that sort of things going on. And children, college students who want to burn themselves the calories, definitely they would like to have more milk and dairy-based products is going to go up, and we are poised to that. And there is no going to be dearth on that.
Mr. Mehra, would you want to add anything to that answer?
Hello.
Would you like to add anything to the answer on the dairy-based beverages and the growth in that sector?
Yes. Smita, I feel the dairy drinks will become more popular, and we need to have a localization kind of thing, like Mr. Jadli said. The taste has to be very, very local for all the region of India, and the technology has to be world class. So that will create a lot of good opportunity and future for dairy beverages, and certainly we would like to have. And there will be some countries who have really banned some of the dairy products from India. They will also come back, they will rethink their decision, and the dairy things can be exported also. This will happen.
Mr. Trivedi, I have a question for you. With this slide in the economic downslide, would consumers be comfortable spending on healthier food and beverage alternatives for which companies can charge a premium? What are your thoughts on that, sir?
Yeah, definitely. I agree that there will be a trend that people can invest more for healthier food, healthier drinks, and they may be desi kind of things for what Dr. Halde, Mr. Mehra also saying that milk-based, they may be herb-based, or even extracts. So there will be a trend for that, and there is a good opportunity to work on that.
Mr. Jadli, would you like to add anything to this on the alternatives that are coming up and a company being able to charge a premium for products which are healthier?
I will just say a little bit on the dairy segment. See, as a matter of fact, in India, still there is hardly any innovation, or there are the innovative product in the dairy segment yet. As we see the other, like the yogurt, when we say, or the flavor, or not the flavor, but with the fruit-based yogurt and all those things, the milk flavor and all those things. So that market is very hardly anything, and there are a lot of opportunities. When people will be looking from the nutritional or from the healthy point of view. So I think there are a lot of good opportunities in the dairy segment. Now, whereas concerning on the price with the to meet all the healthy requirement or increasing the cost of the product, I don't think so that will happen, because I personally feel the cost is not really going to drastically change. It's a myth which has to be really cleared with some of the new R&D technology with manufacturing on this thing. Parallelly, the consumer focus will be buying on the healthy product. Definitely his budget in other activities. Okay, when I say the other activities like fashion or going out for a movie or something, they have to cut. It will, by default, it will get cut. So the pocket size will be there to spend on the healthy material as well. I think my answer.
Okay. Mr. Mehra, there's a question that you can probably help answer. How do you disinfect the vehicle before transportation, and does fumigation of vehicles work? You're on mute, sir. Maybe the panelists can unmute themselves now while we are answering questions. Mr. Mehra, you're on mute.
Okay now?
Yeah.
So at the factory gate, we have fixed up a disinfectant station where all the vehicles coming in the factory with raw material and going with the final product, they are disinfected with all prescribed disinfectant with the prescribed limits, and they are washed. They have a very good spraying system. So 100% vehicle are disinfected, because we have the produce coming from all regions across the country, the fruits and vegetables, the milk everywhere. So we have made a good use station, and this is 100% happening.
Prabodh, are there any disinfectants that are allowed by FSSAI now for vehicle disinfection, fumigation? Is there any regulation around it?
There are two kinds of disinfectants for the body. So basically, when you want to, I would like to tell all the participants, do not get into that kind of, there is a tunnel which people have put it in the entry of the factories, and then they are putting a disinfectant on the body. It is prohibited by WHO and also by FSSAI. They are saying such kind of disinfectants are risky, because if you put a hypochlorite solution, ideally for the COVID, 1500 ppm hypochlorite solution is required to kill the germs, the viruses. And if you put that kind of quantity on the body, it will burn, your eyes will get affected. And less than that, there is no any effect on the COVID particular viruses if there is any kind of contamination. And if you go through that tunnels, you get a false positive confidence that you are now free, and actually you are not. So please consult with your expert, and sodium hypochlorite solution 1500 ppm is the best way, is the cheapest way for your cleaning. And then after that, you need to, best way of the soap, do not use the hand sanitizer again and again. Soap solution with the water is the best way of killing, and after that sanitizer can actually used. And there is a list given, please refer to the website FSSAI. There is a 7 actually chemicals are allowed, which is in line with the WHO actually practices.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, Smita, most of the under the DM Act, and most of the district magistrate have banned this the chemical entrance tunnel and all those things.
Right.
And they said, I mean, again, the same as Dr. Jadli was saying, that the person get a confidence that he got disinfected, and then they miss washing the hands, which is more important. So in fact, it has been banned by most of the DM under the DM Act, which will shortly will go up, then will be transferred to Industrial Act.
Yeah. The question was more related to disinfecting vehicles and surfaces, I guess. So you guys, I think Mr. Mehra has already talked about it, and you and Prabodh have already touched upon for human beings what to do. So I'll come to the next question. And I think Dr. Halde, this is for you. It's encouraging that new products will evolve, but in the current market, beverages like CSD, carbonated soft drinks, if they are not sold, what happens to investments, what happens to these products, and what do you think, how will these current industries sustain?
Smita, it's very interesting question. Thanks whoever has asked this. Let me tell you, we are 130 crore population, and our consumption of the CSD is hardly some 7 bottles a year. And when this COVID will go after 2-3 months, so now we are impact of COVID, but still people are buying the ice creams. I have seen the people are going and buying ice cream because it's a hot actually temperature. My friends, those who are working in that industry, the CSD business, anyway the juices will get increased the consumption, but not to worry, CSD will not that way get affected because it are the impulse sale. When you go out and you are sweating, naturally you want to buy some hygienic product, and over the other available beverages which are open, the properly packed hygienic CSD also will get consumed if you are having a good immunity. And India, we got a good immunity, and CSD products are having a good water and good actually the raw materials. I don't see after 5 months again we will come back to the normal consumption because our penetration is not so high. Had it been 360 bottles a year or 1 bottle a day, then we would have saturated. Today we are not in a saturation mode. Hardly it is 7 bottles a year. So I don't think below that will happen. And plus one more thing, Smita, in the beverage, you will get lot of nutrition through the beverage, and lot of like people will consume beverage as a replacement to the snacks. That is a trend which we will see. Generally, how we take the beverages are being consumed as a part of some actually solid diet. You may see the changes, like people will actually not take the solid diet, only 1 glass of beverage which is having high in protein, and you will see those changes. Already people are going through that kind of actually trends. Thank you.
One last question I have, and Mr. Jadli, maybe this one you can answer. It says the beverage industry has lost the main season and a lot of seasonal demand that is there, and there is about 20 to 25% loss because of the seasonality. How can the industry look at recovering this lost time, this cost that has happened?
Well, that is the fact. It cannot be divided. It cannot be doubted, and it is the sale which has gone today, it is gone. It's not going to come back. That's very clear. So the industry have to accept it. The replacement, as I said, my answer on that will be very clear, very practical. The sale which has gone, it's not going to come back, and this is the season time. Unfortunately, yes, there can be again, the new R&D or whatever in the replacement of the sales can be done with the innovative product or the beverages or the juices or like the soups in the winter season time or the normal season. So that is the only alternate at the moment to capture the lost sale, to do the innovative product or something like that, to make the aware of this thing, focusing on the product, focusing on the immunity. Now there is a change of selling the product. It's everything is human is the buzzword. So we have to see the product which can be sold apart from the seasonality of the thing, mainly the juice segment, what it can be done. Like we hardly have any market for example, for the tomato soup or the packed tomato soup or the packed hot beverages. So that can be looked into that one. But yeah, the sale which is gone, it can be get by this way.
Okay. Thank you so much. Avisha, I think we've touched upon the questions. I'd like to just take last words from the panelists and then we can close the session. Can I start with you, Prabodh? The last words that you want to say, a few words to close the session.
I would only say stay safe, stay at home. Jaan hai to jahan hai, profit will come. And your entire life, you will be earning profit. You must have earned earlier profit. This year, just say that you are healthy and your employees are healthy, and take care of everybody. And it's next year will be the good year for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabodh. Mr. Ramachandran?
I would say that this year will be more challenging to all of us. Quite interesting. Whoever wants to take challenges, they will win over. So we all will fight COVID. COVID will come and another tide or something will come year on year. So we have learned the hard way how to beat this COVIDs, and definitely we will all successful as we go forward, and we will do well. All the best to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mehra, any last words from you?
Yes, I feel with 7 billion people across the globe and 1.3 billion people in India, the drink industry has got a lot of potential, a lot of future. The only thing is to innovate to the consumer requirement.
Mr. Trivedi?
Yeah, food and beverages are required by everyone. So definitely, I again that innovate, and work on the new things will emerge for the business.
Mr. Chobe, coming to you. Any last?
Yeah, what I suggest that this is a wonderful opportunity, and COVID is not only giving some negative things, but there are a lot of positive things came, like family reunion and other things, which was not so easy in this social world, where people are more dependent on the mobile and laptop and other activities, now they have time to spend the time with their parents, spend time with their kids, so this is the right time. You should think things in a different way, find the things in your surrounding area instead of going for far away things like other countries, things like from China and this that. And India has a lot of potential now. In future, definitely in 2021 we'll see India is in the topmost, and people are looking forward to this. So we should be positive, and we have to be more concerned about our society. We have to be very careful about our people and their lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jadli, any last words from you?
Yeah, so problems always have been to the Indian industrialists, so nothing new. I mean, let's take COVID-19 as a opportunity way. So it is not new thing, I mean, earlier also, like the problem we faced earlier, production problem, and then sale problem is there, then the collection problem is there. At least we are, for a momentary time, we are also free from that one. A lot of opportunity. And look into your home. You have like, Amla, the kind of the product, the Amla blend can be done, which is the highest in the vitamin C. Turmeric is one of the things. Tamarind is the other thing. Give your time for a little bit innovation at your home, and beverages segment is such a big thing. Definitely the luckiest thing for all of us that we are into the food and drink business. What else there? What else we can expect? People are going to have it. Yes, there will be a little bit change. So eat healthy, innovate healthy, and the market is there.
Thank you so much. So on that positive note, stay safe, stay healthy, and innovate. That's the mantra that everybody else from the panel has given us. And I guess on that positive note, Avisha, over to you, and thank you.
Yes, Ms. Murthy, I would really like to thank all the panelists. I think it was really, really very interesting session to hear from all the experts. And the information, I think all of you are so positive, which also encourages a lot of participants that yes, although we are facing this situation, but there are opportunities which can come out of this negative situation as well. So thank you once again for taking your time, and thank you, Ms. Murthy, for the wonderful moderation. And I am sure the participants have taken good feedback from this discussion. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Smita.
Thank you, Smita. It was pleasure, sir.
Thank you.
Can log off?
Yes, sir.